Jack and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Jack Jill Show, entertaining real estate investment talk. I'm Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about our personal assistant break-in period, the positive and the negative.
When was the last time you had a better assistant other than me?
An actual personal assistant?
I think you have one.
No, that's hilarious. I haven't had a personal assistant in the terms I think that we all think about, like in that role, for years.
Well, there's a reason why. We can talk about it in a minute.
So before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the JackJill.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Julian R. asks, "Hi, everyone. I had some questions about Craigslist, so I searched the forum, and here's what I found." Kevin, this is like he's quoting other people here. It says, Kevin put, "I do not update the listing on Craigslist until it expires. Again, to my surprise, I sometimes get calls on ads that are so old that I know that there are several pages down from the top. I recently found out that not all Craigslist areas have the same expiration periods for ads. In one county, there's a major city and a general area that are both listed as Craigslist advertising areas. One of them has a 1-month expiration and the other has a 2-week expiration date." He also said on another post, quote, "You can go crazy updating listings on Craigslist, but you don't have to. I post a property one time on Craigslist, that's it. People are calling me a month later on that property, and I know that it is 3 pages down. They know how to search and pull up what they want. I may miss a few who don't search, but then I can use my time doing something more profitable," end quote. And then he goes on to say, Kevin said, with respect to getting deleted, this is cute, quote, "Remove links. That seems to be the biggest problem with land ads. I have ads on Craigslist that work just fine. You just have to follow their rules. I write out my website address and leave it up to the reader to paste it into the browsing if they want to go there," end of quote. And then there's another one. Peter provided a nice link. Outsourcing Craigslist tasks to an overseas VA.
So you obviously can't see the link, but if you Google that, outsourcing Craigslist tasks to an overseas virtual assistant, which is kind of what this topic is about. I checked it out. It's pretty cool. Anyway, go ahead, Joe.
Is it an article or is it something on our website?
It's not on our website at all. It's just it's a website out there that says outsource Craigslist stuff to virtual assistants. We're experts.
That's awesome. Matt said, quote, "I sell a ton on Craigslist. I had a lot of my success posting in neighboring states that have different terrain than my properties. Example, properties in the mountains and the state is next to it is flat. People want a vacation in the mountains," end quote. This is good stuff. And then Mike said, quote, "I post in the 3 largest nearby cities.
That's what we do.
I would post every other day. Use the same body and pictures, but rotate the headlines." And so, end of quote. The best customers research stuff. That's Jack's.
So I know this is a little bit lengthy, and Jill, thank you for getting us through it with a little bit of an entertaining twinge, but here's what I get out of this whole thing. The best customers, and this goes for us too, are ones who research everything. So there's people on the internet that are pretty flippant, let's say impulse buyers. They buy stuff, they look at it, they only click on the top link in Google, and they run through things in life like that pretty quickly. I've found that people who buy real estate, the good ones anyway, do some research. So they're not afraid to take on, let's say on a Saturday, throw the laptop on the coffee table and spend 2 or 3 hours looking for a piece of land that they want to buy as a vacation or a hunting property or a cabin spot or even a new house. They do a lot of research. So I don't think I've never had a lot of luck trying to rejam Craigslist postings right back to the top. No. I think the best ones are just if it's priced well and it's presented good, people are going to find it.
Mm-hmm. I like Kevin's thing too, because I still think too, the end of the day, things like Craigslist and eBay and some of those things are just to drive them back to your website. They're obviously interested in property. Get them on. You're trying to show them what you have, and like Kevin said, I just tell them like the name of my website so they can go Google it themselves. This is not the only property I have, everyone, and then they can shop.
So Jill's 100% correct. We have a handful of people, 6 or 7 members that they make more money than we do doing this for a living, and they followed the model that Jill just said. They plaster it everywhere, but the prize is on the website. So they use all these places to drive the back to the website, but when they get to the website, it's spectacular. One person I know only does really large deals in our group, and he gets drone shots for every single property, and they're truly amazing, even for me to watch. It's like watching a documentary on Amazon or Netflix. It's amazing.
Well, some of our members have used that as an excuse for the hobby. No, baby, I need the drone. I need it for work, and I need the brand new truck, and I need this to go look at properties. That's good.
A while ago, I was reading Sam Walton's biography. You know, the guy who started Walmart, and he was an avid pilot. This is before the internet, and so he was just bent on having a fleet of planes every weekend or whenever he could get up in the air and go fly around and look at traffic patterns, things like that, to put a new ball to where the location is. Did they have statistics for that and stuff? Yeah, but he was just bent on getting up in the air and taking a look at it, and I understand that. Today's topic: personal assistant break-in period. This is the meat of the show. This is such an important position, I think. You know, it gets overlooked. I think that people talk about CEOs, and there's just a slew of things that can make or break a company, but these assistant positions, like the way a nurse is, get all the work done. So what do you think a reasonable break-in period is, Jill?
You know what? If it's the right assistant, it's days. It's really fast.
You nailed it.
So if it's the wrong assistant, quit hitting your head against the wall and trying to work with them. Just move on.
So how do you know? And do you know in the interview? I mean, how do you really know?
You know...
How do you know what you're getting?
Yeah, well, you should know really fast. Like my personal assistant, I knew right away. I kind of knew it when I started, looking up her experience and all that good stuff. And then when I met her, I'm like, oh, perfect. You kind of just have this picture. It's kind of like, I don't know, dating. I overuse dating, but say the right car. You're looking for the car and you think it's the right blue, and when you see it, you're like, oh, this is the one, kind of thing.
And then you get in and it's awful.
Oh, no, you get in it and the seat's even more comfortable than you thought it was, and that kind of a thing. No, I'm using the car thing, the car analogy. So I'm just talking like my like my current car. That was it. I found it online where I'm like, oh, this is the one. It was the right price. It was the color I wanted, the interior I wanted. I just had to drive it and make sure. And then when I drove it, and it like, oh, this is perfect. And then I mean, there was there was a little negotiating that I did, but I knew I was going to, drive off with that car. So it's kind of like that. You know it or you don't. Now, here's the sad reality, because, well, the good news is I usually pull you in for some of these positions and interview with me, because you might pick up on things that I don't. So, for example, a couple months ago, I was going through the process for this position, and there was one person that I thought would be a good fit. And then we met, and then we met again with you before I pulled the trigger. And immediately after the interview, you walked away saying, uh-oh, that one's, there's a screw loose there and you're missing it. And you know what? I was very grateful, because I know you're right. So, and it was funny because she reached out to me again a few weeks ago, because she saw my posting was still up, and fortunately I have filled the position, so it was all good. But I'm like, oh no. So anyway, what was the question?
Well, no, you totally answered
Okay.
it. So I think that this position is designed for an up-and-coming person who needs to and wants to get promoted, and it yields itself to a younger person.
Oh, yes.
Where they want to learn.
Yes.
They want to be, theoretically, not all the time, but they want to be some version of you when they get a little older. Maybe they're in school.
Yeah.
They're full of energy. I think there's some positions that are career positions.
Well,
And then there are some positions who are meant for like internship type positions, and that's what this is. I mean, what do you think?
Well, that's what it should be. I mean, if you do it right, you're here to learn and go, all right, that's what it's like to be a person in that position. I'm going to gobble up all the knowledge that I can, because that person is the most connected and on the inside track, period. So you really get to see how CEOs, COOs, whatever it is, executives operate.
Right. I think it's a win-win. I think, like, let's say an internet marketer that needs to be a career type position. That's what you do, and eventually you have people under you, and you just manage or oversee. And I think this day and age, unfortunately, most of the internet marketers are really, really young people. Like anybody can pass for an internet marketer.
Yeah.
You know, if you really dig down to some of the people, if you have an interview for that position, they'll sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I mean, I've been on Twitter since I was born. It's because I'm 23."
Exactly.
You know nothing about Twitter marketing. You just know how to tweet.
Right.
And I think that you have to really, really be careful with that. So one of the things that we do, we probably don't do it enough, is ask people to take basic online quizzes or tests, like how fast can you type? Do you know your way around Excel within reason? You know, all of that. So it's just a natural extension of the way like chronology goes. If you have a younger person working with in that position, working with an older person like us, just makes sense. So,
exactly.
But for some reason, I guess that's why it made it into this topic made it into the show. That position is tough to fill.
It is. Well, there's a couple things that you look for. One is trust. You know, you have to have that. Number two, and you can sense. I hate to sound girly, but you can sense a lot of that. You can walk away. You do. You know what? You do it too. There's people that, like I said, there's two people I can think of that I was really on the fence with, and you said, "Oh, they're both crazy." So I'm like, all right. So you have your own internal. Gut instinct too, that you picked up on stuff. Then I'm like, okay. So that's it. Trust, not crazy. And then once they get in and you get going, boy, the more flexible they are and roll with the punches and right there, it's awesome. That's kind of the next phase of getting to know each other and then working together.
If you're a young person and you're listening to this, here's some old man advice about how to rocket your career right to the top. As silly as it sounds, just do what you're told. If you are working for a person who's not a nutcase, that goes both ways. We interview people, and some of them you can clearly tell they're screws loose, like Jill said. They should be interviewing us to see if they're screws loose too, because you don't want to waste your time. But if you want to skyrocket your career, just do what the person that you're working for says, within reason. Obviously, within reason,
right? Barring
safety and all that other stuff. And I'll tell you, you will get promoted faster than you can imagine. I see more people in more positions trying to impress people around them with stuff that they were not asked to do.
Right.
Because if you really drill down to it, I just had this conversation recently. Why, with the person that works for us, why are you doing this, and this? Well, because, we really need it. Actually, we don't need it at all, and that's kind of not your job. It's not your job to decide what we need. It's my job. Your job is to just do exactly what I say. As best you can, and then when you're done, let me know, and I'll pile more stuff on. So I dug down to it and found out that this person was concerned that there wasn't enough stuff to do, which cracks me up, Jill.
Right. I know.
Can you imagine there's not enough stuff to do in our companies?
I know. I was thinking of a person in particular that in a different department for us that he wanted to know a little bit about what everybody was doing and thought that was part of his job description, and it really was not. After everybody hung up a phone, or he's like just digging in other people's stuff, I'm like, what is the deal? And all it was doing was slowing him down. Right. I'm like, this is really weird.
I read an article in Inc. magazine probably 2 years ago now, and the whole gist of the article, and it was very short, but I love it, was the reason that you're not where you want to be in your career is because you're working on the wrong stuff. Like this show for us. Where is this show really getting you guys?
I have no idea. Why? Well,
you've done it again. Wasted another 15 minutes or so listening to the Jack and Jill Show. Join us tomorrow where we discuss how showing up for life really, really matters. It happens less than I think, or than I thought.
And we answer your question, should you have one. Post it on JackJill.com.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. This stuff is harder than you think.
Which stuff?
Hiring people.
Oh, gosh.
Keeping them, I guess, for lack of a better description, entertained and
motivated.
And generate, and like keeping them efficient and producing it, let's say.
I agree.
That said, the group of people that we have right now, I guess we had to go through about 300, or it feels like that anyway. 300 people to get there.
I know. Exactly. I know the real reason I have a personal assistant?
Why?
Half for me, and half is for the stuff that you give me.
Wow.
You know I'm kidding. But yeah, partially true. Hey, share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And while you're at it, rate us there. We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.